I'm Denise Peick. I'm the occupational therapist at Newbridge. I just recently joined the team. Very excited to be here. First, we'll talk a little bit about what occupational therapy is. It's a vague term. I jokingly say I'm an occupational therapist. Nobody knows what I do. I do not help people find jobs. What I do is help people engage in occupation, which is an occupational therapy term that refers to the innate human drive to do the things that we need to do at various developmental stages to be the best of us, to fulfill that innate human drive to become the best that we can be. So in infancy, it's all about development. It's about being able to nurse or bottle feed or self-regulate so you rest when you should, and you can support your little brain's ability to develop. In toddlers all the way up to 7 years of age, it's all about sensory motor development and moving and doing and learning through engaging with the environment. Adolescents, it's all about figuring out who they are and what roles they want to play and what their identity is. As young adults, it's finding a place in the world, figuring out who you want to be, and being able to get an education or whatever you need to do to become the best you. And as adults, at the various stages, it's everything from managing your occupation to parenting to having decent leisure time to self-care. And then as we age, it's all about maintaining quality of life, whatever that means to that person. So occupational therapists engage with patients and clients so that we can facilitate their ability to do all the things that they need to do that are meaningful and motivating and important to them. We have a lot of people who come to Newbridge Clinic, children especially, who have sensory processing disorders. That is an area of expertise for me. I'm very passionate about addressing the sensory processing issues that impact function across functional abilities. So everything from cognitive to social emotional to physical to emotional development. There are specific treatment interventions that we use for people that have sensory processing disorders. And again, that varies depending upon what the person's needs are, what their response patterns are to different types of sensory input, their age, what's doable and feasible for a family or a family unit. So it really varies. So we use everything from auditory interventions to specific tactile interventions to something that's been called sensory diets, where we look at the person's routine and try to plug in little bits of organizing sensory information throughout the day so that they self-regulate more easily. Another area that falls under this is feeding and eating issues. Many of the children who come here have significant issues with a narrowed food repertoire due to sensitivities to smell, taste, texture, even what a food looks like. Some of those resolve when we do biomedical interventions and their gut actually heals and they're able to eat the foods. Sometimes that's not enough, so we need to address those specific sensory issues specifically. I use what's called the sequential oral sensory approach to feeding, which is a very gentle, playful way of helping people feel safe with food that's non-preferred to them. There's also a large parent education component to that to help parents understand dynamics that might be feeding into the issues with the child expanding their food repertoire, and also helping the parent to plan strategies to help the child feel safe in adding foods to their repertoire. Another one of my passions is CranioSacral Therapy. And I started doing that years ago, over 25 years ago, when I was working in a day treatment program for children with autism, was addressing their sensory processing and their sensory motor challenges, and recognized that these children were living in high stress constantly, what we call high sympathetic nervous system tone, and really were stuck in that and could not calm, which really did not allow them to engage with their environment because they were in protection. And that is a big part of what happens with children on the spectrum. They withdraw from the environment because they can't process what's going on, and their nervous system just goes into shutdown. They go into fight, flight, fright. It makes it very hard for them to engage and learn, and even begin to control their emotions and their behaviors and to self-regulate. So I went to an intro course for CranioSacral Therapy at a symposium that I attended, and really recognized how calming it was and felt like this is something that could be really helpful with the kids I was working with at the time. So I took those very simple techniques and started using them with my clients in treatment sessions and saw really remarkable things happening. Nice changes. The children would calm, children would stop moving who never stopped moving. Children would make eye contact with me when they would never do it before. So then I wanted more, obviously. So then I started taking the courses and I started integrating that into my practice and used it as an occupational therapist as one of my treatment techniques from there on. CranioSacral therapy can also be used to address, as I talked about before, anxiety, migraines, sleep issues. A lot of times people sleep better after they have a craniosacral treatment. It also facilitates other treatment techniques. So if you do craniosacral therapy before a chiropractic appointment, you're more likely to adjust further and hold the adjustment longer just because of the effect on the soft tissue. You can use craniosacral therapy just to address specific issues like low back pain, or perhaps a pulled muscle in a shoulder, or even to address things like eye teaming skills because of the effect that craniosacral therapy has on the structures within the skull and the tissues that surround the cranial nerves that feed the muscles that move your eyes. So there are countless applications for craniosacral therapy just because of its effect on the central nervous system and the central nervous system's role in managing and running our bodies and keeping us healthy. It's not the right fit for everybody, but I find the people that end up coming to see me are in a place where it's effective for them. So that's very exciting here at Newbridge because people tend to come into this building very open-minded and really ready to try a wide variety of strategies and treatment techniques to address their specific needs.